Hello folks! A cross-country road trip like this one that we've been on, the Frontier Americana, demands a lot of miles on the road. Hundreds, if not thousands. And consequently, that means a lot of trips to gas stations and convenience stores like these. And so as we leave Minnesota to enter our newest state, I felt like it was only fitting that we honor one of the greatest convenience store gas station chains in the country. Yes, this is Casey's General Store. Along the East Coast and in the big cities, you're not going to find many of these, but in America's true heartland, the Midwest, parts of the South, and the Great Plains, you're going to find these in abundance. This is like the third or fourth largest convenience store chain in the country. Now, Casey specializes not only in gasoline, but also various foods like pizzas and sandwiches. You'll notice that in a lot of these convenience stores, there's not only available fuel for your vehicle, but also fuel for your stomach. So here we are at Casey's General Store. The reason I'm coming here at this time is because Casey's was founded in the great state of Iowa, our 42nd and newest state here on the coverage project, the Hawkeye state. So what else can I say here? Let's get some gas here at Casey's General Store and then begin our adventure in our debut in Iowa. Well, here we are officially in Iowa on the coverage project. Number 42, we have 8 states left. And I think it's a good time to explain that there are things that Iowa is known for. It's not just a simple plain full of farms, even though it might seem like it. First and foremost, if you want to know something interesting about the geography of the state of Iowa, well, I'll tell you something. It is the only state. Wow, this is a nice place for an echo. Anyway, it is the only state where the entirety of its western and eastern borders are made up of rivers. Yes, on the west is the Missouri River, on the east of it is the Mississippi River. So, if you're driving west to east, east to west, don't guarantee on a land border you won't find it when you're approaching Iowa or leaving it. Another thing the state of Iowa is known for is, well, the presidential caucus. Iowa is the first state to have a caucus, and therefore it gives people in the political world a good indication of what a presidential or political race may turn out to be like. That's as far as I'm going with politics here on the coverage project. Okay, I will concede though, Iowa, a large part of it at the very least is comprised of agricultural lands. This is corn country. There's a lot of farms here. Most of the state dedicated to the agricultural sector. That's a big part of its economy. Not just corn farms though, there are also lots of pig farms for the raising of these animals to turn into pork. Yeah. Lots of pigs, lots of corn, that's Iowa. Now, amidst this scenery of rural farmland that you're going to find all over the state of Iowa, there is, in contrast, one large urban area, large enough with a population of 215,000 people just in the city. Urban area, 700,000, to warrant it being significant enough to serve as the capital city of Iowa. So I welcome you all in the middle of Papa John's Sculpture Park. Not that Papa John who makes the pizzas. In Iowa, Papa John brings on a whole new meaning. I welcome you all to Des Moines, Iowa, capital of the Hawkeye state. Now, the Papa John pizza chain that you find all over the country has nothing to do with the Papa John Sculpture Park you're going to find here in Des Moines, Iowa. This park is named in honor of John and Mary Papa John, who hold very significant status here in Des Moines, obviously. I mean, they would not have been honored with the namesake of this park if they did not hold any contribution. I'm sure they probably donated a lot to have this artistic area. Oh my goodness. Look at all these sculptures. Now, throughout a walk along this park, you're going to see many different artistic exhibits. Some abstract, like those blobs over there. That might be one of my favorite in the whole park. But then you also see figures of various creatures like this, well, demonic-looking bunny. Or perhaps a spider in front of us. And they don't have to be solid either. They can be made out of rudimentary parts, like these horses, made out of what looks like bark, or old wood, or maybe something else, I'm not sure. But Papa John's Sculpture Park is a great way to start off your day here in Des Moines. It's a very creative area that inspires in a city that's mostly full of boring insurance companies and financial centers. Yeah, that's what Des Moines has turned out to be. A very big insurance hub. It even has like the informal name of Hartford of the West. We went to Hartford, Connecticut, and that was a big city for insurance, but here in Iowa, they love insurance companies as well here in Des Moines. So I suppose we should just take a tour of the beautiful streets of downtown Des Moines. Yeah, just to see what's crack-a-lackin' in this modern city full of skyscrapers and modern buildings. Something I've noticed that's pretty interesting is that this whole city, Des Moines, seems accessible not only from the ground, but maybe 10-15 feet above the ground on these skywalks, as they're called. So potentially, one could walk from street to street through buildings, like the ones you see in front of us, without having to deal with all the traffic. Now, of course, correct me if I'm wrong. I may be wrong on that, but it's an assumption when you see all the signs with the red S in Des Moines, Skywalk, and all of these things that just seem to be on every block. Okay, this looks to be rather higher than 10-15 feet. Maybe 20-30 feet. Check this out. This is just, it's a whole grid in the sky, technically. This is amazing. It's like going through an airport. Minus, you know, the hassle of trying to board a flight, making sure you make the flight. This is such a great way to get around the city. More cities should really implement this system of transportation. I'm pretty sure this is all free. You just open a door, climb a bit of stairs, and then you're here. You have the whole city to yourself. Well, everyone, I have become pro Skywalk. Good job, Des Moines. You have really revolutionized public transportation. Honestly, I just want to sort of get lost in this maze of passages, secret corridors, and so many businesses utilize this. Apparently, this is probably the best way to get around town. No wonder I didn't see as many people walking on the streets. They're all using the Moine Skywalk. Now that's a pretty sight. Yeah, that's the Moine River. Des Moines, the city, gets its name from the Des Moines River. But what does Des Moines mean? It's very disputed, and even today, we don't have 100% certainty on the etymology. Some people say that it's French for the monks, because maybe there were mounds here when this place was first founded. And then some other people say it was an Algonquin term denoting a certain clan of the native people who lived here. Oh, hey, look at this. It's an Asian garden right here in the middle of Iowa. How peaceful and enchanting is this? Probably a great place to tell you about how Des Moines got its start. In our modern day America, we like to think of states like Minnesota, Iowa, and our soon-to-be 43rd state. If you've been following along, you might be able to decipher what that state would be as midwestern states. We know that place. It's where all the farms are. We're pretty familiar at this point. But back then, when the country was first getting started and expansionism was on its way, this was the frontier, that northwestern part of the country, where people really didn't know what was going on. Lots of arable land, but nobody was really living here. So around 1843, this area was settled around the Des Moines River, used for lots of farming, and this was one of those military cities. Cities that began as a fort. It used to be Fort Des Moines. That was dropped eventually, but a town around this fort started to grow and grow and grow. Unfortunately, though, in 1851, one of Iowa's worst floods on record swept by and destroyed the city that was in its development, caused by that dang old river. The rivers here in the upper Midwest used to be very, very unpredictable. Floods were not too uncommon. Yeah, people couldn't really necessarily rely on the floods not to go past where they should be. So original Des Moines was destroyed, leaving the people here forced to start over. But they rebuilt and they prospered. Eventually, Des Moines became designated that capital city of Iowa. It wasn't the first Iowa city was then the capital, but then Des Moines became the capital city. And thus, we see the Des Moines of today. A very white-collar, business-esque city. Long ago, it was a blue-collar city. But, as I said, financial stuff, insurance stuff that I, as a mere person, can't really understand. Maybe I should go to business school to understand all that fun that goes on in these corporate buildings all around the capital. But as for now, this is Des Moines today. In the 1970s, Iowa was governed by Robert D. Ray. And he saw that at the same time he was in office, Southeast Asia was in a heap of trouble. Many countries such as China, Laos, Vietnam, Cambodia had either political instability or were torn by war completely. So he saw all of these people in need of help. And so with an open heart, he welcomed all of these refugees into Iowa for a better life, better opportunities. And the people today thanked him by building this Asian garden right here in Des Moines. Not even joking, I almost forgot about us visiting this. Doesn't happen very often here in a capital city that I'd almost forget to visit the Capitol building. Now you can see the city over there, booming, bustling downtown, but then there's this whole park and beautiful ground for honoring, I guess, the state capitol. I mean, it is a beautiful sight. At least it gets the space it deserves for a seat of government. Iowa flag flowing proud and true. And here we are. Here's the Capitol building itself. As we walk closer and closer, you'll get a better view of, well, this is one of those ornate Capitol buildings, I guess. Iowa is a largely forgotten about state. Unfortunately, that is just the case. Compared to states like New York, California, Florida, Texas, it doesn't get as much spotlight. But the Capitol building, if there's something to say about that, it gives the message, hey, don't forget about us, we are still here. Now, although the gold dome is a very nice touch, I prefer looking at this fountain full of buffalo drool. Care for some buffalo drool? Oh yes. Makes for an elegant design. Captures the spirit of the state, perhaps. Anyway, let's see if we can even get inside. There looks to be some sort of construction. I hope that doesn't interfere with a tourist's ability to visit. Oh yeah, definitely one of the more colorful state capitol buildings. We got the tiles down here, we got the painted walls, the wood, the lights. Wow. And right on top, there's a nice image. Oh, employees only. I guess we're not good enough to use these stairs. Say it. One of the coolest libraries I've seen in my life. Man, what a great view of downtown Des Moines from right here in the library in the Iowa State Capitol building. Well, that was a pretty sweet Capitol building, if I may say so myself. We have one more place to go, because I feel like it. I could end off today with a nice view of the Capitol building with a tree obscuring the view, but no. We have one more destination to go to. Let's end it off with a nice feast, Iowa style. Alright, I'll take an original Maid Right sandwich, and then, can I get a vanilla malt? You know how we are on the coverage project, sitting on the ground with the grass, the leaves, and the occasional pieces of trash. Yes. Here in Iowa, this state has its culinary claim to fame. A fast food restaurant so old, one of the oldest fast food chains in the US. Sadly, these are a dying breed. This is Maid Right, home of the loose meat sandwich. Now this is a creation we have never seen before. I have personally never seen this before. This is a combination, a mix between a sloppy joe and a cheeseburger. Take a look. So it looks on the surface like a cheeseburger, but then you open it and it's just a mess. What a mess that burger is. Yes, that's because it's not a burger, it's a loose meat sandwich. You can get these all over Iowa at a restaurant called Maid Right. These have been in operation since the 1920s. And, well, I'm very excited because I've read about this place. It's almost like going back in time. You're getting a piece of culinary history here. Before we dig into the burger, I do want to say, get yourself a malt on the side when you go to Maid Right. These are amazing. Malts are kind of like milkshakes. They put a little malt, which I don't even know what that is, but it makes it taste better for some reason. It just adds that layer of flavor to the already existing shake. Here we go. Classic. I'm in vanilla heaven. Alright, time to dig into this loose meat sandwich. This is gonna be a mess. Here goes. So, how does it taste? Well, it's got the appeal of a normal cheeseburger. The flavor's there, for sure. But it's almost like you're eating a burger made out of taco meat. It's all loose in the loose meat sandwich. So how does it fall in the hall of fast food experiences we've had? Well, the Maid Right loose meat sandwich, it's not the best. It's more of like a quick fix type of meal. It's by far not the worst either. I mean, it definitely filled me up, and I'm glad I chose this place over any other. Overall, it ranks average, I guess. But I will say this, support Maid Right, because slowly but surely these restaurants are disappearing from our American landscape. You can really only find them in Iowa. Historically, there were a lot more restaurants than there are now. So if you're gonna go anywhere for fast food and you are in Iowa, and if you are in Des Moines, you might as well pick Maid Right because, well, they need your support. I bet you all thought Iowa was gonna be boring. Well, guess what? It is not, especially here in Des Moines, capital of the Hawkeye state. Whatever you do though, don't call it Des Moines. That is not how it's pronounced. Des Moines, capital of Iowa. What a day we've had here, and well, Iowa still has another place in our hearts here on the Coverage Project. Well, I figure I'm gonna just retire for the day here in Des Moines with my Maid Right malt. This was definitely a feast that was made right. Get it? Made right? Yeah? Okay. Well, sitting here on a nice peaceful day, enjoying our adventures in Iowa. More travels to come. I will see you at the next location.